trying so very hard in order to not oh no, don't misunderstand. That bad voice can get anyone to misunderstand what is really going on. No, I was trying to say I'm trying very hard to keep in my anger. Because in one of my reviews, I released so much anger. I actually wonder if anybody got scared. No, they probably just got too much ringing in their ears. Can't blame them, I got ringing on my own. In this chapter of Shokugeki no Soma. As I said before in a previous chapter, most when we saw were what the Azamis Central does to those who do not follow the rules once they have lost. I said Azami is crossing over a line which is morally ambitious. No, that's not the right word. Which is morality questionable, maybe you can say that. And now he has reached it again. Heck, even the manga artist and the writer have crossed that line. And what am I trying to say? Well, let's begin first with the manga artists. First of all, you all know a lot of people suspect Soma must win this because, unfortunately, two things can happen in this battle. First off, and before you shut off my review or rant, hear me out. Please, I'm just begging you, hear me out. It's like this. What happened if Soma won? Well, first of all, a lot of people will quit reading the manga. Why? Because people just want despair. That's the first thing that can happen. The other thing that can happen from that, if Soma wins, well, he got the seat he always wanted. So technically, nothing really grand can happen in this one. But because the only thing that will happen if Soma wins is that a lot of people are gonna drop the manga because they just don't like the invincible hero always winning. Now, what happens if Soma loses? A lot of things can happen now. I know we already discussed this in the last review, but do you know why? Maybe it's easier if I just tell you what's going on in this chapter. Tsukasa and Soma says they're gonna cook venison in order to do that. And Tsukasa, well, he doesn't even have to prepare. I mean, he already has a mind of his own. And although that guy is arrogant, narcissistic, while slightly pessimistic and never puts himself into cooking, he seems to at the same time dance with the ingredients. Maybe that's why he can bring out the best of them, because for him, the ingredients are the only family he needs. For him, it's almost like he's taming a deer. No, that's not a deer, a venison. And venison is the meat, so it's something else. But maybe a milk? Maybe it was a deer. It's anyway. And he creates such a powerful dish that Hisako and Erina, who still are hiding, mind you, Hisako actually gets stripped. Yes, from the smell. Okay. If you want to hype up someone that powerful, then it's extremely dangerous, mind you. But we see Hisako stripping. Since I forgot to mention another stripping, I gotta say I'm enjoying this. And this is also the first time, or is it the first time? There have been those that have been aroused, or by the smell. Take Hariyama for example. But here, no one has gotten a foodgasm from just the smell. That's how powerful Tsukasa's dish is right now. And he finally tells Soma what Azami really wants when Soma asks. And here is what a lot of people will complain about. Why would they complain? First, because a lot of people will say that is virtually impossible. What is Azami's rule? Well, we all thought he was going to take over the finest culinary school and then revoke it into his own image. That was only the first plan. He's going to force an army. that once they have completely taken over this one, they're gonna spread their ideals all over Japan, and but not really spread as in inspire. No, they're gonna close down every single one of the restaurants that do not match Azamis standards. That is his ultimate revenge on the cooking world. That, my friends, is morally questionable. And also, a lot of people are gonna say, they're gonna say it like this: listen, dude, that's virtually impossible. Have you any idea how many restaurants there are in Japan? But me, as a guy who's going from the manga's perspective, I would say, no, I have no idea how many restaurants exist in Japan, nor in this fictional Japan. I know Japan is a small country, but small doesn't mean no few. So yeah, in a way you would actually ask, is that really possible to go after every single restaurant in Japan? But we have to see this in a manga perspective. Asami is a guy who's insane. He's insane. Not only because he's gonna do this, but because of everything he has, how he's treated his daughter, how he's gonna do. I mean, it's almost like a child throwing a temper tantrum. Given how angry he was what happened to Yoshiro, maybe that's why. And Tsukasa is only supporting him well because for him it can't be helped. And here we once again see why Soma is such a likable character. He's got a heroic resolve, says that I don't want to join Central at all. I am gonna cook and I'm going to win. And here we finally get to what happens if Soma loses. This is one of the things I dislike usually about the Shokugeki no Soma manga, and also about technically any Shonen Jump manga. It's when they hype up a person so much and then they throw in an emotion that makes you question everything you have read. Well, maybe that's a too far stretch to say it, but what I'm trying to say is almost everybody suspects Soma is gonna lose because, again, this is a first seed. Soma is not yet ready to defeat them. And I'm saying not yet because Tsukasa is going to lose one day. You people also have to see this in another perspective. Shonen Jump, yes, they do tend to overhype a person and then that guy is invincible and blah 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 blah. But eventually, they do lose. It doesn't have to be good, but they do lose. It just takes a while. So, but they still also throw in these situations to us where we actually question ourselves, who do we really want to win? Because if Soma loses now, what's going to happen to him? I mean, I know he's going to join Tsukasa, but what I'm trying to say is one of Soma's strongest points is that he never backs down and he never gets depressed over his defeat. I mean, he gets frustrated, but that's about it. Could this be the first defeat that will actually crush his soul? Now that he has got such a heroic willpower, if he loses, shouldn't that crush Soma's will to fight? And that's one thing that can bring negatively if we do for the fact that Soma loses, and I sincerely hope it will not happen. Granted, however, I too don't really want Soma to win that often, but I want my other main characters to win more often. So what happens if Soma loses? Are the Polar Star Gang gonna save him? Because if you think about it, yes, I'm once again going to Megami, but I'm also going back to the Polar Star Gang. Isn't it reported that 3 of them, or maybe even 4 of them, have family restaurants? Ryoko is said to have a... what's that? forgot her speciality. The girl with the big boobs, and I forgot her speciality. It's not salt. It's not fermented either. And Ibusaki, I mean, remember that guy who had smoke abilities. Did he have a restaurant? Yuki also. She's a farmer girl and she's connected to hunters. Is she also connected to a restaurant? And Megumi, we know her mother owns a modest ryodan. Not in Tokyo, but outside. And that is definitely a restaurant or an inn that Azamis is gonna shut down. No questions asked. Hell, it wouldn't even surprise me if he tries to blackmail Megumi in saying that I'm gonna shut down your restaurant. But that Ryudan is not meant to be spectacular, it's only meant to be modest. So can this crush Soma's will to fight if he loses? And before we call the quits of this long review or rant, let's think of another perspective. What if it's a draw? Yes, I know it's virtually impossible for Shokugekis to have draws. Because every single time it's an odd number of judges, but there have been some indications where there have been draw. That unofficial Shokugeki against Shinomaya, he won that first, but then some, some other logic, it became a draw, in a way. Also, Hayamaya and Kurokiba's duel, that Meek, former second seat, she couldn't vote because both of them were good, and in that case it was a settle where all three, two against and Soma had to fight. And they have already started preparing. It's not even a big deal here. So who's gonna be the judge? Is it gonna be Arina or Hisako? And if it's a draw, what will happen? So yeah, that's my long ass ranting about this one. If you still think like you wanna watch, give me your words if you have any.